Okay, so having got the research out the way, I now have a far clearer understanding of the right application to build. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to go through, before I talk about my first application and what I hope will become a suite of applications, I'm just going to run through uh, the advantages that dyslexia brings. Now, I reiterate again, I am not one from one moment saying that dyslexics are better than non-dyslexics. I'm just saying that having dyslexia is not a disability and that it does bring certain advantages that can be used. So I'm going to run through some of the inherent advantages that dyslexics tend to have. And this is not me saying this is based on the scientists that are in previous videos that I've done. So the first one is that we visualize more easily. Essentially, we think in fully interactive three-dimensional environments. Tell us to think of a road, we'll create not only a road, but what it's built on, what it's created out of, a bit of its history, the houses, the side of the street. We tend to think in three-dimensional, fully interactive, holistic environments as opposed to single entities. The second thing was that we're better able to understand visually represented concepts provided that they are in a single figure. So if you think of the old adage, a picture a picture says 1,000 words. Think for us more along the lines of a picture says 10,000 words. You know, you give us an idea in the form of a picture, we'll get it straight away. We won't really need much in the way of explanation, provided we have a picture. Then I had here that we have a visual advantage in the eye, in that we don't focus on single entities, but rather, or single small entities such as words, but rather we bring in entities as a single whole. So think in terms of a non-dyslexic walk into a room and they'll see the table and the chair and the windows and the walls, whereas a dyslexic will bring everything in as one single unit. Then we have a wider focal point, which bleeds into why dyslexics might have a problem with reading, because they don't focus on one word, they focus on the entire page or a whole paragraph or a group of words at a single time. And because of that, everything goes out of order. But the advantage is that it can be used because we'll focus in and we'll bring entire things in far greater amounts. Essentially, we bring in information, more information at a single given time, which allows us to bring it in that much faster. Then we have material, mechanical, and interconnected reasoning in a non-verbal way. So again, we think in fully interactive three-dimensional environments. We see how everything connects and how it works inside. And that's what that advantage comes with and what it talks about. We're able to do that slightly better. So we'll get an idea. We have it clear in our minds. We know exactly how everything works, but we can't really put it into words because we don't know where to start, because we've got this entire machine already there, this entire entity that, some people have to design it. For us, it pops in all at once. Then we view things from multiple angles simultaneously. So when you tell a dyslexic to think of a chair, they won't just think of the chair from one angle, or sitting on the chair, or a picture of the chair that they have. They'll see it from every single angle all at the same time. Then dyslexics have an advantage, both in speed and accuracy. Forgive me, I'm actually reading this off a list. In identifying objects that cannot be built due to a flaw in the design. So what this will mean is that we've all seen them, impossible drawings that can't exist and that cannot be built in real life. Dyslexics have a greater advantage in recognizing these, and it makes sense because, if we think visually, we're automatically trying to build everything we think about. So if we see an image, we'll automatically build it in our minds, and if it can't be built, we'll pick it up because we will realize, okay, there's a thing there that's connecting that should not connect. Then the last thing was we have a greater aptitude for remembering incidental images. Now what this means is that we're walking down the street and we see something, but we don't pay attention to it. We don't realize we have to memorize it. Excuse me. But we will remember it and recall it much easier than a non-dyslexic. Which leads me on to the design of the application that I wanted to write. So one of the first things was when I give instructions, it has to be 8 words per line. No more than that, because again, dyslexics like things short and sweet. So the idea that I had was to build an application that would allow dyslexics to communicate that much more easily. Communication is a big thing in the modern world, but it's still done sequentially, and that's not really how dyslexics think. I mean, if you think about it, right now I'm talking to you and I'm trying to communicate an idea, but I've got a start, and I've got a middle, and I've got an end. And dyslexics tend not to think about the world that way. We don't see the world that way. And it's the same with the PowerPoint presentation. We're giving a presentation. There's a start, middle, and end. It's all done in a sequential order. And again, it's not really how the mind of dyslexic works. And that's why often we ramble so much, because we don't know where to start or finish. We don't know if we're in the middle. We don't know where we are and the idea that we're trying to express. So I wanted to create a tool that would allow dyslexics to just create the idea without a beginning or a middle and end, and then present it. So what I thought about was a very simple three-dimensional or 3D renderer. It would have a cone, a sphere, and a box, a line to connect everything, and text. The ability to add small blocks of text. And what this would mean is a dyslexic could create a visual representation of what they were thinking. And of course, it would have to be web-based, so I'll put it in JavaScript to begin with. And then they could build it and then just plug the phone into a screen, or the laptop into a projector or something along those lines. And then just walk people through the idea as if they're walking them through a building or an environment. So the technologies that I was going to use was going to be JavaScript. I've actually found a very good library that I'm going to be using, at least to start off with. I want to do it in browser, because a browser you can use it on any device, mobile, whatever. I was going to specifically focus on Firefox, because Firefox has a mobile device. It takes a lot of the pain out for me. So initially I'm going to be focusing on getting the build done for Firefox in a PC, and then I'll move on to Firefox in a browser. I'm hesitant to move on to any browser other than Firefox, purely because it kind of covers everything. I don't really want to develop a mobile app for this. I just want it to be compatible with mobiles, and it'll take a lot of the pain away. If it works on Firefox, it'll work on most devices. So that's where I'm going to go with that. My next video is going to be down to the nitty-gritty. I probably won't see much of my less than desirable face, but it'll be more along the code that I'm writing, and walkthroughs of the code and demonstrations of the tool working. So stick around, and we'll see what comes out.